This year we're doing a complete 360. We're doing a camp at my son's Little League complex on Pine Island, Florida. So a lot of T's to cross and I's to dot that we don't normally do. And been a busy week, but the weather's been great.
Yeah, busy for me. I was literally just at Sam's with my daughter Dominique, and we were getting the supplies from Sam's Club, who's one of our big sponsors for the Disability Dream and Do sports camps, and they supply grants and they supply volunteers, and they're a real blessing to us for the camps that we do. So, but today we have a special guest, and kind of uniquely, I am in the same building that he is, and he has kind of several connections with us as far as Dave Clark and Dave and myself, Dave Geis. And of course, he's got a connection to you two, because now I have Dave Clark, I have Dave Geis, and now I have David Brown. And we're going to introduce David Brown. Come on into the show, David. I love the hat.
Thank you, man.
Looking good. He's got our pulling each other along hat on.
I like it.
We'll make these available someday.
I hope so. I'd like to get one.
Yeah, well, someday we'll include you into the club, Dave Geis.
I hope.
How long have you been promised that, Dave?
I don't know, 3-4 weeks now.
Good luck.
It's been a little bit hectic for me. So welcome to the Facebook crowd, the YouTube crowd, and especially welcome David. I'm going to call you David because I call the other two Daves. So you have to be a little different here, David Brown. So tell us a little bit about you. Give us a little introduction. We want to make this show as much about you as possible on the 104.1 River West radio show today.
Hey, so first of all, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. So like Doug said, my name is David Brown, co-founder of Family Initiative. So Family Initiative is a nonprofit organization here in Southwest Florida, designed specifically to support children and adolescents diagnosed in the autism spectrum. And I'm thrilled. So we got Doug out here. So we're in our new building. We just did a ribbon cutting about 3 weeks ago at our brand new Autism Sports Center out here in Cape Coral. So, thrilled to have you guys out here. And I know everybody in our area is looking forward to the camp on Saturday. So appreciate you.
And so one of the reasons that you and I connected, even though I've been coming down to this area or you and I and Dave, is we had approached the Southwest Florida Foundation about doing a chapter in the Pulling Each Other Along book, and they chose you and what you're doing in this community to be highlighted. And so that's kind of how we connected. And of course, then I'm already getting other social media buzz and say, oh, I know these two, we know Dave Clark, we know Doug Cornfield, and we know David Brown. So we're pretty excited about the connection, and you're very close to where is kind of like my second home now, right here in Cape Coral and Fort Myers area. So welcome, and we're glad to have you a part of the book as well.
Yeah, no, we're thrilled. And I got to say, Doug, the Southwest Florida Community Foundation is incredible. Sarah Owen and the whole team there have just been, a godsend to the region and particularly to our organization. So, Anjali and I are both grateful that she linked us up with you guys. And obviously it's an honor to be in the book. So we can't thank you guys enough.
Well, it's a great story. And one of the things, the chapter is, basically calls you superheroes. And then I saw this on Facebook, for the people that are watching on Facebook, is a picture of you, and it looks like your family, if I'm correct. But you're in your Superman uniform, and it seems like with some of the other pictures I found that you're a big superhero fan, maybe?
Yeah, so I think for us, I think our whole team here is inspired by our families. And so, I think we rock all the superhero gear as a tip of the cap, to our families who are just phenomenal people. And so, the ribbon cutting, the groundbreaking for the building, everything we did is superhero themed. As you can imagine, our guys are huge Marvel, Avenger, Captain America, man, anything superhero related is super popular in our building. So, so we dig on the superheroes.
Well, tell us how this whole family initiative got started.
Yeah, so Anjali Vandry, who is co-founder of the organization, the two of us had worked for a number of years together in the child welfare system in South Florida. And to be honest, we worked with a lot of foster families across South Florida. And they started reaching out to us about, kids that they had placed in their custody who pretty quickly, after being in their care, those caregivers begin to identify something was going on with the children in their care. And so, we'd meet with the foster parents and clearly they were right. Something was going on. And so, in trying to support those children, those families, we reached out across, the region, trying to find an agency that was really specifically geared towards supporting families that were supporting kids that had special needs. And to be honest, we really couldn't find anybody that sort of fit that niche. And so, I don't know, Anjali and I were up late one night, maybe we drank too much coffee, but we were like, we should totally start an organization that's the focus of how do we come alongside families and provide all the support that they might need, to be successful and to help them in raising these awesome kids. And so that was really how it started. It's the two of us just kind of dreaming big. And obviously we listened to a lot of the moms and dads and they gave us some guidance about what they would like to see happen. And from there, one program turned into 3 programs, turned into, kind of a whole array of programs. And it just blew up, and it's been fantastic. It's been the honor of my life to do this. I got to be honest. And we love it. It's the best. The families are fantastic and the kids are amazing.
That's wonderful.
Dave, we had the privilege, Doug and I had the privilege of meeting you yesterday in downtown Fort Myers. And, I explained a little bit to you about, we've had some ongoing issues with our daughter, and there really is a lack of, or was a lack of, appropriate treatment here in Southwest Florida. So I want to ask you a twofold question. What vision do you have for your organization in the immediate future, and then long term? What's your vision look like?
Yeah. So, Dave, I appreciate the question. And I also appreciate you sharing that with us yesterday. And so, to be honest, Dave, I think the thing that jumps out at me in the short term is just, kind of basic capacity. And when I say basic, I just mean like summer camp. Do we even have a meaningful, platform to offer special needs families in our region for summer camp, right? So our guys are working, day and night right now to put something together that's appropriate for our families to make sure that they have the support they need for something like that. But really, Dave, over the long term, we've been doing this 5 years now. And the funny thing about kids is they grow up. And so, we've noticed pretty quick talking to our parents, they're concerned about, their kids now that are, 16, 17, 18 years old, what becomes of them moving forward, right? As they become young adults. And so I can tell you, without equivocation, that's clearly the direction that we're going, is how do we begin to build real capacity to meet the needs of young adults and workforce related issues and all of those kinds of things. So for us, we're full steam ahead. That's really where the next, 2 to 3 years, what we'll be focused on is how do we build a continuum of support, from early diagnosis, early intervention, all the way up to young adulthood. How do we really build something meaningful for those folks?
So one question that we always ask David is kind of that pinpointing question, since we are the Pulling Each Other Along award show or long show. What is that one moment or one thing or one person where you would say, this is kind of in my anchor, this is what stirred me on to do what I'm doing? And it could be in anything, not just with this organization, but with you personally.
Yeah. So what I would say, I guess, Doug, about this is I'll pick one person. So a gentleman named Ray Fisher, who was my supervisor, mentor for a number of years. I think when you're a young guy and you're professional and trying to figure out, how do you create real change, meaningful change, right? Impact for other people. You really struggle sometimes with the bureaucracy of things that you see and the limitations of things. And he was just a phenomenal mentor and, really encouraged me not to feel boxed in by, kind of what I was experiencing and let me know, that the dream and the vision I had was possible and that I had the capacity to do it. And, I think all of us, we've got doubt, and I think we have, reservations about maybe what we're thinking about doing is too much, or it's, this being too audacious in that. Right. And he was one of those people. I feel like a couple different times you fall down, you need somebody to pick you up. And and he was definitely that guy to kind of help pick me up and encourage me. And there's no question, Doug, all the stuff that we have now, and all the things I'll ever do never would have happened without Ray. And so he's my guy, man. He's the one that definitely has been pulling me along for a long time. So I owe him a great deal.
It's amazing the impact that people can have, and at least you get a chance to share that, and hopefully he gets to hear that. And I'm sure he's heard it from you before, but it's nice to also get some of that recognition. And so I'm glad you had a chance to do that today.
Yeah, it's
Dave,
good.
What did you learn from the chapter? Any questions to drive from you today?
Oh, you're talking to me. Sorry.
I have to say Dave Geis because, I got all these Daves, all these Ds.
Yeah, I kind of missed a little bit of it. Not really so much a question, but just, reading the chapter, what I got out of that was really interesting that you guys went to the parents to see what they needed versus trying to figure it out yourselves, going that direction, and then possibly, not getting what they really wanted. So I thought that was really interesting that you really directly just got that from the parents themselves. Mm-hmm. Do you see your organization going reaching further out into other states possibly? Or I know you're centrally located down in Florida right now, but obviously is an issue nationwide, if not worldwide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Doug, so first I appreciate that point, because I think it's an important point you raised. And I got to be honest, that was a lesson I had learned earlier in my professional career. And I got the scars to show for it. Thinking you got a good idea and you're just going to run headlong into what you want to do, and then not talking to families first about it. Right. So that came with experience, and it was great sitting down with the parents. And to your point, I think we had some very clear ideas of things that we wanted to do, and the parents began to share with us what was on their heart, and it was not what we wanted to do. And but we were smart enough to listen to the parents and follow them. And to be honest, Dave, that's why we called the organization Family Initiative, because we really wanted to be an organization focused on what our families were telling us that they needed, not really what we wanted to do. And so sure enough, the proof's in the pudding, right? Everything that we've built along the way, and I think why it's been successful is because, we're talking to moms and dads every day, every night about what they need. And so, of course, they're always spot on. And to the second part of the question, I think we are very aspirational about spreading across Florida, and obviously to go beyond the state of Florida would be fantastic. And so we've got a site now in Sarasota and a site in Miami. And so that's really our goal, is to continue to spread out and bring this. And, we've had some good conversations with some of the folks in the legislature here in the state of Florida. How I would love to see this kind of program expand across Florida. So,
right.
And we'd be ecstatic to go even beyond that. So,
right. Well, very good. It's great what you guys are doing. This goes to show that anybody, people can do these types of things. Just got to get out there and go for it.
Yep.
Don't let things hold you back. Just do it. Same thing with Dave and Doug's camps. They're getting back on track with them, and it's a great thing. It's just incredible. It just needs to be seen more and brought out to the public more. Yeah. So it's right on the right track.
Yeah.
Great. Well, speaking about our camps, I wanted to give a shout out to this young man, because we have a cross synergy with him, and he's come to our camps for a lot of times, and his mother actually just posted a chat. So hi to Rhonda and Sean. We're glad you're part. We look forward to seeing you this Saturday at our Disability Dream and Do camp. The first one in a while, and it's our first one in 2 years here in the Southwest Florida area. And so we're just glad and wanted to do that shout out. Now, how do you know this family? They're seemingly a part of this organization as well. So we kind of crisscross here.
Yeah. So look, I would say first, look, I don't know who doesn't know Big Sean. So
that's probably true.
Sean is a phenomenal guy. We love him. The guy's a rock star, and he's in a bunch of programs we have, and we're crazy about him. He's just a phenomenal young man, and a pleasure to be around. And his mom, Rhonda, is just a tremendous advocate, here in the region and statewide. And so And she's just dedicated her whole life to this mission. You know, obviously from her professional capacity to, you know, her personal life, she just is, you know, honestly, she's an inspiration to all of us, you know? And so when we're, you know, our team is kind of contemplating what we're going to do, what we should be doing, are we doing the right thing? You know, Rhonda's one of those first people we go to and just kind of check in and be like, what do you think? And, you know, how do you feel about that? And she's always a phenomenal barometer for us to make sure that we're staying on the right path, you know? She's an amazing lady.
Right. Dave Clark, what are some other thoughts that you have for?
Well, I'm going to take this in a different direction.
Sure.
Because I see Tom and Laura are listening in, one of our regular listeners, and he says the podcast could be called D4 Dream and Do now. And Tom and Laura are up in the New England area, and I'm taking this in a little bit of different direction now for DB, Dave Brown, because disturbingly, yesterday I found out that he was a Boston Red Sox fan, and that deeply disturbs me as the Yankees and the Red Sox are two of the most despised franchises, in my opinion. So I just wanted to ask Dave how in the world he became a Red Sox fan and an all Boston fan, actually. Celtics, Bruins. So how did that happen, Dave?
Pats. So diehard Sox fan. Come on, let's keep it 100. So you know, I grew up, Dave, as a little kid. I think my mom would say you know, you go to school every day and they say, what do you want to do when you grow up? You know, my dream was always to play second base for the Boston Red Sox, man. So, you know, the best part is I think I even said that my senior year of high school. What do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be second base for the Boston Red Sox. So I grew up my whole life, diehard Sox fan, and grew up in Massachusetts before moving down here to Southwest Florida. So, and I love it, man. I got them right here in my backyard now for spring training. So it's been fantastic.
That's right.
And now you're here where the Red Sox train. So
yes, sir.
So you and tell the little story you told us yesterday about the thrill you got over at JetBlue.
So I just got to say, dream of a lifetime. We had we have a great partnership with the Boston Red Sox, and they've just been fantastic to us and our kids. And every year they have us out to the ballpark. And they let our kids take batting practice inside the stadium, which is just the thrill of a lifetime for our kids. And so this spring, you know, our kids kind of did their thing and took, you know, a bunch of rounds of BP. And we were getting ready to clear out. And one of the staff said, you know, you want to jump in the cage and like take a couple cuts. And everybody on my team knows, you know, how much I love the Red Sox. And so they all were staring at me like, is he going to get in the cage, you know? And I was like, absolutely, man, I'm jumping in the cage. And I got to admit, though, Dave, I was kind of like, I was pulling off the ball because, you know, I was trying to get to the monster, you know? I was pulling off. And yeah, it was tough, man. But it was a phenomenal experience, one I will never forget the rest of my life to be in the box and taking some cuts.
Great. That's great.
It was fantastic.
Well, Tom has just made another comment. And he said, I'm not a Red Sox fan. Mickey Mantle was my idol. So again, Tom, I'm sorry to say, but you're on the other side of my despicable teams. So anyway.
And you worked for the Yankees.
Yeah, I actually even played in the organization. So
you were a Yankee.
So, boy, those were a couple tough years.
Yeah,
yes, they were.
Hey, we have to because again, one of our great fans, Tom Demolakis, is listening in, and Tom always wants to know, because we made this a thing early on in the Pulling Each Other Along show. What is your favorite donut?
That threw him for a loop.
Dave, would this be bad if I said it's a Boston cream donut?
Oh my God!
I think the show's over now. I think we're done.
That's it. Boston cream donut. I should have known.
Well, there is no Baltimore cream donut, so.
They don't even have donuts in Baltimore. I don't know what they are. Anyway, so I know you've got something going on this weekend. You've got like a cornhole. You're raising money. You're writing grants. All of those things.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the day-to-day activities that your organization actually does for these families?
Yeah. So a couple things, we kind of broke it up into three pieces. So one of the things we do is we have community-based programs that we offer basically every day of the week. So we have a social skills play group we do for kids on the autism spectrum to get together and really connect and to have an environment, where they can spend time together. They can build relationships. One of the moms, I'll never forget it. She goes, this is such a special place because my kid can come here and live out loud and not be judged and do their thing. And so that's one of the programs we have. We have a parent support group that actually tonight's going on right now. So we have moms and dads from across the region who gather together. We also do a number of art classes. We have a acting improv class, hip hop dance class, a music class, a visual arts class that we do here in the evenings. And we do that in partnership with the Alliance for the Arts, which is a phenomenal local art organization here in Southwest Florida. We also have we have teen hangout group. On Wednesday nights, we have teens and young adults that come here in a space. We have about 25 of them now that gather together, and they have a great time. And so we do all of those community-based programs just to give kids an opportunity and young adults an opportunity to come together and connect and work on social skills and build relationships. So that's one part of what we do is that community-based program. The other piece that we provide is then clinical services. So we provide applied behavior analysis and occupational therapy services in home because we feel like that's a big thing. We want to come to families, not have families come to us. But we have this space we built out so we can support services here if families want to do that, but we'd rather make their life easier and come to them. And then the third piece that we do is we do a lot of legislative advocacy work in the state. And so we're blessed. We have phenomenal senators and representatives here in Southwest Florida and across the state of Florida. And so we work with them every year on how do we really expand rights for individuals with disabilities? How do we create more services in the state of Florida for the kids and families that we love? And there's a bill that's about to be signed into law here in a couple of weeks by the governor. And so Senate Bill 192 in Florida here ends the practice of seclusion of children with disabilities in public schools. And it dramatically reduces the use of restraint in public schools for kids. So we're excited to continue to expand human rights for the kids in the state of Florida and really improve conditions for all the families that we work with and that we love. And so those are kind of the three pillars of the organization and really the work that we do.
It's wonderful.
I'm wondering what got you started in with the kids with autism. Why did you know somebody with autism, or is that what got you started?
Yeah, so there's one family in particular that we had connected with, and they had a little boy named Dylan, and I gotta be honest, we just fell in love with him. He was just like a phenomenal kid, and it's cool. So we actually last Saturday night we started our first annual Autism Acceptance Awards. So we're gonna start holding annual awards
Nice.
in recognition of folks across the region. ESC teachers, advocates, parents, anybody that's in the community organizations, right, that are working to support, individuals in the autism spectrum. And so one of the awards, we called it the Dylan Award. And so we gave this award to the most outstanding person in our region that has championed rights of individuals in the autism spectrum. And so Dylan holds a special place in our heart, being the kind of first young man that we connected with. And it was awesome. So Dylan and his dad were at the award ceremony and actually presented the award to the recipient. And so Dylan always means a lot to us, and he's really been the driving force behind all of this stuff.
That's great. Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. So we just take a short break right now. We're at the 104.1 River West Radio, WXRW in Milwaukee. We're glad we get to do this platform from kind of all over the country. Today it's heavily on Southwest Florida and Pennsylvania, but we have David Brown, who is the founder and co-founder and president of Family Initiative in Southwest Florida in Cape Coral, doing wonderful work for families, filling in needs and making things great for so many of these families so that they can dream and do. And that's kind of what we like about what you do. I mean, we're, what Dave Clark and I do with the sports camps, we obviously have invited some of your families to our sports camp because we got one right up the road coming this week in Cape Coral, Florida, or how do you say it? Bokeelia. We're at Bokeelia. And so anyway, we appreciate you being on. We got a few more minutes. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, Dave, is what are some of your needs right now? Like if you were just say, hey, this is the family need. These are the kind of things that needs to happen right now.
Yeah, for me, I think the big piece that we've been really doing a lot more outreach with is with businesses in the community. And so I know a lot of the young adults that we work with, Doug, they're anxious and excited about trying to get out into the workforce. And they bring a lot of talent. One of the things that we talk a lot about around here is, talent is universal and opportunities are not. And so we've got a lot of phenomenal young men and women that are here every day that can bring a lot to our community. And so, we've been reaching out to a lot of private businesses to see, is there a place in our organization for some of our young folks that just, can bring a lot to a business and help be a part of a successful team. So I'd say that to me is my number one thing is, can we connect with more folks in the region that are looking to fill spots?
Gotcha. And what kind of spots again would those be?
So the one thing I will say, Doug, is that our young people are phenomenal with anything technology related, right? So IT positions, graphic arts and, digital content. I'll be honest with you, I get locked out of my iPhone. I don't know what's going on. I'm talking to the kids. Somebody help me with this thing right here. And these guys, I mean, they're so native to the technology that I think, these days, the way everything has been, it's just a staple. It's a part of business. And so our kids just thrive in that atmosphere. And so I know they can bring a lot to a business.
Can we, as we wrap up here on the 104.1 River West Radio in Milwaukee, can we get somebody to help Dave Clark learn how to use a real smartphone? That's what we want to do. Goodbye, everybody. This has been a very quick 29 minutes on the Pulling Each Other Along show.
Okay, now we're off.
Now we're not off. We're just now.
Yeah, but we're off the radio.
We're
now
off the radio.
Firing with both guns.
So now we can, now Dave,
phone down.
Ask real questions. This is the after show, Pulling Each Other Along with Dave Clark, Dave Geis, David Brown, and myself, Doug Cornfield. We're glad you're still listening, which sometimes I wonder why anybody would listen. But that's what we do. Anyway, thanks, Dave, for joining us. We usually like to just chat for a few more minutes, and it can be just about anything, whatever you would want to chat about.
What, anything?
Well, we can pull up the Colgate boys. We haven't done that yet this week.
No, not do that.
You don't have one with you.
There's the Colgate boys.
Oh, Lord.
Nice.
Dave Brown, that's Dave Geis and Dave Clark way
4 or 5 years ago, right?
In the day, the two Colgate boys.
I like those unis.
What's that?
I like those unis.
Yeah, those were
they're classic.
Those are sweet.
How much did you know about Dave Clark and his baseball? Because you were a baseball guy, but I assume you never heard about it, or did you run into us before? Or
oh no, I know from the very beginning of our work, we'd heard a lot about Dave Clark. So even for Angelina, I said it was awesome to meet with you guys in person. And clearly, our families here in the region, rave about this and love everything that you guys do. So we were super familiar.
Not very good, because obviously we, for the folks that can come out this Saturday, I was wanting to get. I've been so busy, I hit the ground running here, and my daughter's down here with me, and literally we've been pretty much waking up nonstop, trying to cross all the T's, dot all the I's. Dave's been.
And you're picking your son up tonight.
And I'm picking my son up. I think I actually haven't heard if he got on the plane, and he's on one of those planes where it was still docked in Detroit when they were supposed to leave. Yeah. It finally got there, And when it got there, I don't think you heard this, Dave Clark. So Gideon's, they board the plane, and somebody took in their bag, their extra big bag, and my wife was telling me they jammed it into the, the over, whatever you call it, the
Overhead compartment,
bins, and broke it. So those things, you cannot fly a plane if it's broken. Right. So Gideon's on the plane, and this guy broke it, and they were waiting for the maintenance to come. And literally, I don't have confirmation that he's en route or not. So I may or may not be picking him up today. But it's kind of important that he gets here. He has some things in his bags that we need for Saturday. Or let's just say we want for Saturday, because at this point it'll be what it'll be. But so, hey, David Brown, one of the pictures I found of you is I support autism acceptance.
Yes, sir.
And I kind of wanted to ask you, what does that actually mean to you?
Yeah, so that's a great question, man. So I really appreciate you asking that one. One of the things I'll just say about this, which I think is fantastic, and obviously our team, we spend a lot of time with young adults on the spectrum and gain their perspective and their thoughts about everything related to ASD. And so one of the points that they always make to us is they're kind of worn on the idea of autism awareness. At this point, they feel like that's something that should be widely recognized. And really what they're looking for is acceptance, right? That from the workplace to educational environments and everything else, we really need to build a world that is inclusive, that's designed for everybody. And historically, as we know, that's not really how things have been put together. And so in every aspect of our lives, they want us to be conscientious and aware and mindful of how do we create a setting or create an environment or host an event or whatever it is that we're doing that meets the needs of everybody, not just a select group of folks. And so that's really, to us, what that means to champion acceptance is to have a more inclusive environment, more inclusive world that supports everybody. And
Great.
So it means a lot to us to talk about autism acceptance.
I know for us, with Dave and us talking about our story, the children's book that I wrote, and one of the things that I love that I actually brought out in the book when Dave shares this story, he talks about when Ernie Pound brought this little radio flyer wagon, that changed the whole day, because now even the bullies wanted to start taking turns pulling Dave. Yeah. And they all wanted to take turns pulling him. And so instead of him being that little boy that was going to be off, trying to keep up and being made fun of and even saying, come on, slowpoke, or whatever was in his mind that was actually what he thought was going to happen, it was a totally different event, because now all the kids wanted to take turns pulling him and including him. And it was such a simple thing. And some of the things you're working on aren't as simple for some of those inclusions, because there's so many different spectrums. There's, even with our camp, I think one of the beauties that I can talk about our camp is we literally, it doesn't matter with age, doesn't matter with what type of disability. We have children that come to volunteer and help out that, quote, don't have a disability, but they intermix and they mingle and they play together. And it's really a beautiful sight when we see that type of inclusion, when everybody's in essence on the same wagon and pulling the same journey together. And so it's really, really great from that perspective. So keep on that. That's really something special.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Clark, give us some of your words of wisdom. We need Dave Clark words of wisdom.
I think one of the things in the meeting yesterday with Dave, and I didn't touch on that after, but I heard Dave mention Challenger baseball. One of the things that I've learned in my 29 years on the earth is that 29, Dave, that I think our camps are not really about baseball. They're more about teaching people to let loose a little bit and explore what your potential could be. wherever that lays. It doesn't have to lay in baseball. It could lay in anything else. But I think we have a tendency to limit people with limitations in really trying to reach their potential. And that leads me back to Challenger baseball, because I remember one kid that we had in our camp, and I don't know if you remember him, Doug, several years ago out at Hammond Stadium. He could really throw the ball. He was missing a hand, kind of like a Jim Abbott type of guy. And he could really throw the ball, but he was playing in Challenger Little League. And the point I'm making here is, had Challenger Little League existed when I was growing up, I may have been channeled right into Challenger and never reached my potential. So I think all of us that are working with people in general, kids, people in general that have limitations, let's not pigeonhole them in one particular area. Let's not put a guy that's walking on crutches and braces in Challenger Little League until we see what his real potential is, because my path in life may have been totally different had Challenger baseball existed when I was a kid. And Challenger baseball is a great thing. Don't get me wrong. It is a great organization, as are all of these organizations, and yours, Dave, and ours. But don't pigeonhole someone because they look a certain way. Make sure we find out what their potential is so that we can direct them in the right direction. And maybe there's that, because that kid, I remember when that kid told me he was in Challenger, I said, he doesn't belong in Challenger. He should be in a regular Little League, being not forced, but being given the opportunity to compete against competition that might be a little bit better. So I think the point I'm trying to make is, let's make sure we know what someone's full potential is and let them explore it. And you know what? Failure isn't trying something and not being able to do it. Failure is not trying it to begin with.
Exactly.
So I think we got to be careful when we do these things in our camps, in your organization, Dave, in Challenger Little League. If there's that person that stands out, get them the heck out of there. Get them to a higher level.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, Dave, Jim Abbott's such a good example of that, right? I mean,
What's that? I'm having a hard time hearing you, Dave.
Jim Abbott was like a great example of that, right? Didn't he throw a no-hitter, if I'm not mistaken?
He threw a no-hitter.
Yeah,
he threw a no-hitter, yeah.
I mean,
he threw a no-hitter.
Yeah.
Did you ever throw a hitter? Dave Clark, did you ever throw a hitter?
I'm having a hard time hearing you and Dave.
Uh-oh.
Did I ever do what?
Throw a hitter.
Never.
You never throw. Did anybody ever hit you?
Oh, get thrown at?
No, I'm just talking about your pitching. Did they ever hit you as a pitcher? Did you ever leave? I thought you were like perfect all the time with your knuckleball.
I was always perfect until they hit those balls that the stewardesses got on long distance flights.
And for the politically correct, he said flight attendants. That's what he really meant.
Okay, flight attendants.
Flight attendants.
Back then they were stewardesses, man.
Yeah, that's right. Back when you played, they sure were.
That's right.
Yes.
So the update on my son Gideon is he made the first flight.
Hey,
tell us if he gets from Detroit to here. So we'll see what happens. For those that don't know Gideon, I'll put a little picture of. That's when he was like super cute.
There he is.
Yeah,
of course, that's not him now. He's much cuter.
No, he's a little older now.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Can they drop him off the flight there?
I don't know if that would be a good idea.
Oh my God.
He's had some.
He's flying standby. I didn't know if he could get bumped.
I know the last flight that he landed in Corning, it was bouncing so bad they literally went into land, and the pilot had to pull out because he couldn't land. There was so much turbulence in the air. So
wow.
he's had his share of flights that aren't very fun. I don't know.
I like those little planes that fact, it was down in Florida years ago, even before I met you, Dave. And
That wasn't real long ago then, Dave.
no, it's about 5, 6 years
3
ago, I guess, right? Yeah. But, you know, those types of planes where they ask you how much you weigh, and then you decide which side of the plane you're going to be on. Like, maybe a different plane, not this one.
Yeah. So Rhonda's saying that you hit really well at JetBlue, trying to jack it out of on the Monster.
Said he should come out Saturday.
I got to be honest, Doug. I bet you I hadn't swung a bat in 15 years, man, when I stepped in that box. So it definitely had been a minute since I've done that. And I appreciate Rhonda's just being kind.
She's just being kind. There you
go.
Nice
person. You know what I should say, Doug? You know, Rhonda's daughter, Becky, she got in the cage after me, and she put me to shame. She's a phenomenal softball player, and she can rake.
There you go.
I should give Becky some props, man. She can rake.
She's probably well, I bet your mom's a good athlete too. That's my guess, but
yeah, she is.
Just guessing.
Now, Dave, you were a second baseman, you said?
Yes, sir.
So let me think. Your era with the Red Sox begins when?
Gosh.
When were you first a Red Sox fan?
Probably like 1980.
That's Jerry Remy? No, that's after Jerry Remy, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm
So who was the Red Sox second baseman in 80? Was it Remy?
Gosh.
Is it Remy?
Jerry Remy?
I had it right? What?
Oh, was it Remy?
I don't know.
I don't either.
It must have been like
Let's take a look, shall we?
3. I know, right? You can Google everything now and find out.
What level of ball did you get to, David?
I played in college. That was about as far as I got. So
What college?
New England College and in Southern New Hampshire.
College.
Yeah.
Is that D3 school?
It's a D3, yes, sir.
You play Ithaca College?
Yeah, so that's about as far as I was gonna get, man.
Did you play Ithaca College?
We did play at Ithaca College, yes, sir.
Oh,
That's where I went to school.
Oh, really? Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, we Coast Guard Academy. We played against a bunch of schools. Traveled all over the place. It was good. It was fun.
I was a little ahead of you. I graduated in 1995.
just a couple of years ahead.
Couple of years, man. I just missed you.
That's when he met his wife. That's when he met his wife.
All right.
So,
hey, it was Jerry Remy.
Was it Jerry Remy?
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. I was a Phillies fan, and we didn't even, there was the interleague play back when I was a kid. So I knew zero on the American League side.
So who was your second baseman, Doug? Larry Boa?
Larry Boa was my shortstop. Dave Cash was the second baseman, and
yeah.
You had
Pete Rose
Willie Montiez was on first, and of course then you had Pete Rose that came in a little later, and he was third at first, and Mike Schmidt was at third, and some great teams that I got to grow. Well, Dave was on the minor leagues with the Phillies during that time.
Tug McGraw.
Tug McGraw. We were telling Tug McGraw's story today.
Yes, we were, but we can't tell that story here.
You can't tell that one?
I don't think so.
We could now. You can tell that now.
Can we tell that now?
You're still on Facebook.
Yeah, we're just on Facebook.
Well, I know, but you still want me to tell that one?
I'm not sure I want you to, but we could.
No, we're not going to then.
Tom probably wants you to.
Who?
Tom
wants me to tell that story.
Our faithful fans
every
second of the show.
All right. So a couple of teammates of mine, we're minor leaguers. We're getting $200 to put this this camp on. And Tug McGraw's the big draw, and he's getting about 10 grand to come in and do the camp with us. And so we put this camp on at the minor league facility. Tug has to come from Philly. And after the camp, we go into the minor league locker room, and there's a big sheet cake in there because one of the guys on the team was his birthday. So Tug takes a look at the cake, and
oh God.
You sure you want me to tell this?
Yeah, we can tell this show. It's just true.
Right.
It's a true story.
Takes a look at the cake and proceeds to pull his pants down and his jock strap.
Cut his mic off.
and he
No.
and he sat down right in the middle of the cake.
What's the worst part of this story? Is you guys
Well,
probably
he left
ate
a
it.
great imprint. It was the best imprint of a pip that I ever saw on the cake. Of course, he came up all icing, and we ate the cake. We were minor leaguers. We ate the cake, man.
You're desperate. You're desperate. Hopefully,
That's
Tim
a
McGraw. We
pretty
get to
bad
meet
story
Tim
you
McGraw.
just
I
had.
get to know all your Tug McGraw stories.
I bet that was a crappy cake.
Man.
Something like that, Dave, guys.
Yeah, close to it.
I think that's your funniest moment ever in this
Somebody-
Tim McGraw show.
Somebody had to go there. Might as well be the catcher.
Hey, Dave, you would have eaten that cake too, man.
Probably.
No doubt about it. No doubt. We probably ate worse than that with the clowns.
I'm sure we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you like the uniforms, David. This is a
I
whole
did.
team of those uniforms. Look at that.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
That's a different uni, though.
Yeah, those
that's what year was this?
It had to be like 84.
Yeah, that's it, because that's Ed France there.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is cooler
That's 86.
champion uniforms.
Nice.
Except for those hats, man. Holy cow.
Train engineers.
Yeah, you have those uniforms in this picture.
Yep. That's 87. Or no, 85.
That's 85.
Clown pictures are from 85.
And
Okay,
the Philly picture is 1980 when Dave was playing
Right.
the Phillies.
that's 80.
I don't know. What's this one here?
That's 85.
Okay.
Last game of the year.
Is that in Buffalo?
Last game of the year in Buffalo, exactly.
Huh.
Okay.
Against Wayland.
Is that Dave Brown on first?
Yeah,
big.
there you go.
Well,
Yeah,
second.
Dave Brown.
Coaching first base.
That's where I belong right about there these days. Coaching first base.
It's hard to even get out to first base. Well, it looks like we're losing our crowd.
Hey, I
And,
got one more question
go ahead.
for Dave, because Tom wanted.
That's great.
Uh-oh.
I'm only laughing because I checked
Hold on.
over here.
The pastor.
I checked over here on the comments just before I was going to ask that question. And Mike Bowers has commented, the ethics committee at Facebook will be
One cake.
reviewing the previous story. You
There
will
you
be
go.
hearing from us soon.
Oh,
The bunch cake.
Anyway,
boy.
Tom wanted to know when Dave expects to expand his business, Family Initiative, into Sarasota.
Excellent. So we actually just launched our Sarasota site about 3 months ago. So we got a team in Sarasota right now, and we're going to start to add the community-based services as we speak in Sarasota.
So,
Very good.
So it's in motion, is what you're saying.
Up
Yes,
and
sir.
running.
Very
Yes, sir.
good. Very good. Thanks for the question, our faithful friend Tom. I don't really know how to pronounce his name.
He also made a comment on the Tug McGraw story. He said a bunt.
Yeah. That's
And
almost
that one might be
almost
reviewed.
as good as Dave Geis's
I
comment.
wish I had thought of that.
Yeah,
It's
and
your fault,
we
brother.
have a guest that's actually going to be on our show in a couple of weeks. The pastor, a former
nice.
Indianapolis clown, who commented saying the ethics committee is going to be reviewing this. So hopefully we don't get kicked off. I don't know. It seems to be going around these days. So.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, David, I was going to photobomb you because we're like almost in the same room.
I know.
I was going to come over and join you, but I guess that never happened. That seemed funner in
With
my
the hat
mind.
you're wearing, he does not want to join you.
You don't like my
Looks like
hat.
it's been used for a bit.
Next
That's
time, though.
brand
Next
new.
time.
That's a game used hat.
Yeah. He's got to sign it and sell it.
I'll have Dave sign it.
There you go.
So, well, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks,
I can
Dave.
Maybe try to end with a little bit of
Thank you,
music.
Dave.
Who knows? We'll
Hey,
see
guys,
if I can
thank you,
do all
man. I
this.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. This has been the Pulling Each Other Along show.
Dave, see you,
Special
Dave.
edition after
Hey,
show
guys.
with Dave Geist, David Brown, and Dave Clark, Doug Cornfield saying goodbye tonight.